I'm Kayla.
I'm Anna. This is Laughs and Legacies. Hey, welcome back to Laughs and Legacies. We're really excited for this week. Actually, I should stop saying that because we're excited for every week.
Yeah, we pretty much are.
This week is airport stories. Airport, airplane, all of the above. And our family, they fly a lot. Like my mom and grandma, aunties, they all grew up flying. And I was just hoping that they had some stories to share. And they sure did. When I think of airport stories, I had someone recently share a really awesome story. And for the life of me, I can't remember who told me. It might have been a stranger. But I asked around. I was like, who shared this with me? Who shared this with me? And no one knew what I was talking about. This is so cute. They were at the airport. I think they were in Europe or something. And they were coming back home. And they had huge oversized bag. And they kind of knew it wasn't going to be let onto the plane because it was oversized, overweight. And someone spotted her, picked her out of the line. They're like, that kind of looks overweight. Let's weigh it. And they weighed it. It was super overweight. And they're like, you have to get rid of the stuff. And they were crying on the floor, taking out their shoes, their outfits, all this stuff that they got in Europe. And they were so sad. And they had to throw it all away. They were crying badly in the airport. I don't know who this was, but it was so sad. And
You just said it was cute.
hold on, it is cute.
Oh.
Hold on, just wait.
It's this is depressing.
It is depressing. And they were so sad. They got on the plane and they put their bag up and they're just sitting down. And then another passenger, a lady, passes by and she hands her a shoe. And it's one of her shoes. Now, when she was telling me the story, I was like, that's so great. Someone brought her a shoe. A single shoe. The next person brought her the other pair. And the next person brought a shirt. The next person brought pants. The next person brought every passenger.
Brought something. Oh, that is cute. Yeah, I wonder who was that.
If it's you and you're listening, you best be telling me so I can give you a shout out later. It could have been a stranger. I really don't remember who told me this.
That everyone brought part of her. Oh.
What do you think of when you think of the airport?
I don't think of good stories, to be completely honest. I do love the nostalgia of walking into the airport. That's something that, I don't know, both my husband and I, we are just get giddy. We're like, oh my gosh, it's the airport. And then we start getting into the security line. We're like, oh my gosh, I remember why I hate this. But one of the main stories that just will never, ever, ever fade from my memory was one time. So when I was living in Utah, we came down I think it was our first Christmas together. So of course we were poor, married couple, brand new newlyweds, and we flew down for Christmas and we chose the cheapest airline. We chose Allegiant Air. Maybe I shouldn't shout them out, but whatever. We got on there, flying here to Arizona, not a problem. Had Christmas, had a great time. Flying back, I think I was actually pregnant as well. Yeah, I was pregnant because I felt totally sick.
This just adds to the story.
I just wanted to die, It's only an hour and 20 minutes. It's literally the shortest flight, but I hated it, the whole thing. And I know we're getting to our time because I literally was watching the clock, and we start going in circles and circles and circles. I'm like, what the heck is going on right now? And then the pilot comes on and he goes, so we can't land because there's snow on the ground and yada, 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 making up excuses. We kept going in circles. And finally he goes, well, we don't have any more. We need to go back to Arizona. First off, what? And two, we don't have any more fuel. So we're going to stop in Las Vegas. So they literally flew us to Las Vegas, landed. It took forever to fill up. They wouldn't let us stand up. We couldn't even stand. Unbuckle our seatbelts. They would not let us unbuckle. Wouldn't let us stand up. And then they took off again. And then we flew to Arizona. And then they go, okay guys, now if you want to be rebooked, stand in a line. And only one person was helping this entire flight get rebooked. So I'm standing there until 3 a.m. Oh, actually, I didn't even put this last part on there, which was kind of funny. As we're landing, you know, it's now been over 2 hours. Actually, I think by the end, it was almost like 5 hours with us going in circles, stopping, and getting back to Arizona. It was about 5 hours of us on this stinking plane. They're like, they put the seatbelt sign back on, and we're landing, and I start getting up. And the flight attendant's like, you can't get up. I'm like, do you want barf all over the floor? Because I'm about to barf. You better let me up right now. She's like, oh, okay. And I went to the bathroom. I was like, not happy. I was like, I'm literally going to barf everywhere. So she let me go to the bathroom, which is good. Anyways, back to when we were in the airport. I stood there till 3 a.m. to rebook my flight for the next day. The next day comes around and it canceled.
Oh my gosh.
And they just sent like an email. I didn't even get my text. I signed up for text. And my email's kind of fidgety, so I didn't get the email right away. And when I saw it, I was like, are you kidding me? And trying to call Allegiant, you will never, ever, 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 ever get a hold of them. Ever. You'll just sit on hold forever. So I was just like, whatever. We ended up buying Delta tickets, which cost us way more money than we wanted to spend. But we got home. And our friends in Utah that were going to pick us up, they said there was no snow on the ground. The real story was that there were no lights. How? Why? Why did the runway not have lights? I don't know.
Why did they lie?
I don't know.
Maybe they weren't lying. They just saw that there was no lights so they thought it was snow or something.
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
I'm not happy. That was like the worst experience of that. So I do not fly Allegiant during wintertime. I'll fly during summer because they're cheap, but I will not fly during wintertime.
Those airplane stories always scare me when they keep you on and then people get rest. Like, it's such a small space for so many strangers to be.
Yeah.
And we're human, and so there's like bodily issues and then also mental issues. Like, it's just a recipe for disaster.
I think they were still having like a lot of COVID rules, so we had to wear masks too. I was like, I am done.
I think the only time that like I was on a plane and it got rerouted was when we were going to Scotland. Dad, Trevor, and my flight got rerouted to Germany. So we went past Great Britain, went to Germany, and then we were in the German airport and no one spoke English, and we kept trying to find people who spoke English.
Oh.
And Dad was struggling. We're like, Trevor and I were like, it's okay, Dad, we'll figure it out. And they're like, how do you know this? And we're like, you can't speak English. You have to like show them pictures, you know what I mean? Like, or like look up Google Translate or something. Anyways, stuck in Germany.
Oh my gosh.
It was awesome.
Why did I not know that?
Well, like, we figured it out. It wasn't that bad, but we just got rerouted. Anyways.
That's weird.
Next story. From our dear Grandma Fisher. Love you, thank you. She says, my funniest story is on the way from New York to Glasgow. A woman started to throw up in a barf bag about 4 seats in front of me and in the middle seats. Big plane. Flight attendant came to help us, and as she was walking away from the lady to dispose of the bag, her husband shouted, "Get back here. Her teeth are in there."
Shut up. Ew, no.
I wish you could have seen the flight attendant's face. She promptly brought the bag back, and one of them had to fish for the teeth.
That's so nasty.
The worst part is, we are in the middle of the ocean, and if this woman is seriously ill, they will have to land somewhere, and I'm looking at my watch to make sure she's past the halfway line over the ocean so we don't have to go back to New York.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, we were closer to Glasgow. Phew.
Oh my gosh, that would be awful. Ew, that's so gross.
Do you hear about that recent story where a man was walking down the aisle and had an accident going down the aisle, and the whole plane was rank and people were barfing and like they had to turn around
and go back to Atlanta, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard that.
That was so sad. I feel so bad for the person. I mean, everyone else, that's miserable, but
for the main guy, you're like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
that's
so sad.
So sad. Our next story is actually from our Auntie Heather as well. She like just gave it to us like right before we started recording, which is funny.
She walks in, like we're sitting here setting up. She walks in, we're like, "Hey, you got a story for us?" And she's like, About what? And she gives us the best story.
So when they were younger, like Anna had mentioned, our family used to fly all the time because my grandpa used to work for Delta Airlines, and because he worked for them, you know, they always got their tickets, meaning their what's it called? Standby. Oh. There you go. I'm like, what is that called? Standby. They flew standby. And because they were on like a higher ranking, since he worked there, they always dressed very nicely in case they were able to get into first class. So my Auntie Heather was wearing a skirt and she just looked nice. And this one time she was in the airport, all dressed up. She was holding all of her luggage in one hand and a baby in another. And
What's a baby?
That's what I asked her,
too.
Was
it a toy baby or an actual
No, like
baby?
An actual baby. But I asked her, I was like, was it one of your kids or was it somebody else? And she didn't answer.
Okay, right on. Continue.
She was holding a baby. I'm assuming one of her kids. But anyways, as she's walking, she felt something a little strange. So she looked down and found that her skirt was wrapped around her ankles. It had fallen down her legs.
Oh!
Her skirt. Yeah.
Oh.
As she was walking, fell down her legs and wrapped around her ankles. And she looks down and goes, huh, okay. Luckily, that day she was wearing a slip. She usually didn't, but she wore a slip that day, and so she just put her stuff down and picked up her skirt, zipped it back up, and just, like, went on her merry way. She's like, of course it was embarrassing, but what can you do? It happened.
Oh my gosh. She, like, explained that so calmly. She just, you just see it, pick it up. All right, let's keep going. We're in the airport. There's no shame here anymore.
I feel like she would have felt it more if she wasn't wearing a slip. Because a slip is like another skirt. So it just, like, slipped down the skirt. You can feel it, but it's not as noticeable. So,
skirts.
Anyway.
I love skirts. Skirts are so comfortable, first of all. I have a story about a skirt, though, real quick. Like, my 5th grade teacher, she was mean. She was actually a flight attendant before she was a teacher. Mrs. Brown. There's a million Mrs. Brown, so I can say this. And
oh, yeah, she was a mean
She was
teacher.
from Germany, too, and she just always told us Holocaust stories. She was terrifying. But she got mad at the whole class one day and made us all sit on the wall for recess. You sit on the wall, and you watch all the kids have fun. And they stand in front and watch all the kids on the playground. So she went to the bathroom, came back, and stood in front of all of us, she back facing us. And her skirt was up in her underwear after she came back to the bathroom.
And probably nobody told her because they're like, we hate you right now.
We hated her. I feel bad. I would have told her as like an adult and stuff like that now. But like as a kid, we all equally hated her for making us sit on the wall.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny, actually.
The last 2 stories for the airport. Actually, I'll just share one. I sat next to a sweet mom on the way back from somewhere, and I had a book, and I wanted to keep to myself. Okay, I had my book and my AirPods in. That means leave me alone. She wanted to talk about life and get to know me. She started talking. She's like, "Oh, what you reading?" And for those of you who know, it is A Court of Thorns and Roses. And that is a book that, like, you don't want to tell mom that you're reading. And, like, it's good. I know a lot of people who've read it, but it's just, like, I was like, oh, it's just a fantasy book. And she's like, tell me about it. I was like, no. I was like, it's okay. And she's like, well, where are you from? She got to know my whole life story, and I got to know her whole life story. And then eventually I gave up and put my AirPods away. I was like, I think I'm just going to have to sit this entire flight because she wants to talk.
I'm a person that likes to talk.
I like to talk, but get the signs. My AirPods, my book. It was super nice of her. She was really nice. When we got off the plane, she's like, wait, Anna. Like, we're best friends. We are at this point. She's like, I want you to meet my husband. Okay. I met her husband. He was so nice. I was like, nice to meet you guys. I'll see ya. And then she's like, oh, here's my son. Met her son. And then their daughter, and then I got to know their whole life story, and then at the end of it, I was like, all right, bye.
You're like, see ya.
It was so nice, but I was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I just got your whole life story, and now I know you guys, but, like, I gotta go. Like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
Meet up later
weird.
for dinner? I don't know. It was super nice.
Actually, that just reminded me of a different story like that I experienced, and this one was actually nice. It wasn't as creepy as that, but yeah, there was just this older couple sitting next to me, and I feel like most older people, especially older men, really like to just tell you their life. They want you to, it's like they don't have somebody who actually listens to them, and so
they want you to think they're cool, and they have a lot of story. Yeah,
and so
that's cute.
I like talking on a plane because I get bored after reading and listening to music. I'm just like, ugh. I can't remember where I was flying to, but I just sat and chatted with this, mostly the older man. The woman wanted to read her book, which is fine, but talked with him pretty much the whole flight. Super, super cute. And then when we were leaving, we're like, oh yeah, when are you going back? And they're like, oh, this day. And it was the same day that I was going back too. And so I was like, okay, maybe I'll see you. But, you know, am I going to see them? I just thought, yeah, whatever. But when I came back to the airport, I actually saw them. Like, I walked up and they went, hey, Kayla. And I was like, you're so cute. So I sat in front of them and we just chatted while we were waiting for our plane to board. They were really cute. I like them.
That's awesome. If they ever hear this, reach out. Say hi. That's so cute.
He's like a farmer and stuff, so he just told me about his whole life, about growing up on a farm, and that when he moved away from it, he was just so sad, and all these things that he misses about his... I was just like, you are just the cutest old man I've ever talked to.
That is cute. Those are the airport stories I want to hear. That's so cute.
I really like it. I know that there's just so many good and bad experiences in an airport, and I appreciate them all. I think we all would, so...
We're going to do this one again, because I know there's so many more.
Mm-hmm.
Our next week's stories are storm. The time I was caught in a storm.
The time I was caught in a storm.
Right on. That's gonna be a good one. We got haboobs here, dust storms, and we got friends and family in snowstorms, rainstorms, like all these other things. We want to hear them all. Send them in. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Have a good one, guys.
See ya.